Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we got a special treat for you guys. Of course, as you guys know, we're doing our season predictions, and today we'll be doing the season prediction for the Memphis Grizzlies with Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and all their guys finally healthy, which people forget. Before last season, which was like a gap year, they went back-to-back seasons being one of the best defenses in the league, one of the top offenses, and back-to-back years being the 2 seed in the West. Like, the Grizzlies were on a come-up, and I honestly think that last year's injury-plagued season was the best thing to happen for them because it allowed them to find guys like G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams Jr., who in my opinion, have now solidified themselves as part of the team. And the same thing I think they did a good job. And then it allowed Santi Alama to develop. It allowed, Brandon Clark to not feel pressured to come back and immediately have to perform. I think drafting Zach Edey was perfect after seeing how Derek Lively contributed to the success of the Dallas Mavericks, and Steven Adams, his knee being not reliable. I think you go out and you get Zach Edey really could be Steven Adams 2.0 if it all works out, which is perfect. And he's like the perfect guy next to, I think he has a bit more, I think he's just bigger, okay? But I think, again, same thing. So I personally expect to start the season, I expect them to, first off, I want to hear your guys' expectations in the comment section. What is your season prediction for the Memphis Grizzlies? I think they're going to be a top 6 seed. They're going to be a playoff team. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want more content like this. Go check out my work at usatodaysportshoopsite.com. Now, starting lineup to start the season, I think Jaren Jackson Jr., Santi Alama, because he's earned it. Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart, Ja Morant will go through that. I think they like Santi in there because he's like the perfect 5th guy who can dribble. He's a guy who can pass, dribble, shoot on offense. He can also guard 3 through 5 on defense, and he can be effective with or without the ball in his hands. So he just seamlessly fits there. So I think that's what they're gonna do. And then I think Brandon Clark is more than likely going to be the 6th man, unless they want G.G. Jackson to be that 6th man. So 6-7 is G.G. and Brandon Clark, who I think are going to come in for Santi and Jaren Jackson Jr., while Zach Edey to start the season will be slowly integrated. I would not be surprised by the end of the year if he's starting next to Jackson. And then if he's starting, that would push Santi Alama out of the starting lineup, and he would come off the bench. But Luke Kennard, I expect to just be a 3-point shooter off the bench. Vince Williams will kind of be like their Swiss Army knife, glue guy off the bench, spot starter. And as I said, Brandon Clark, 6th man. 7th guy is more than likely probably going to be G.G. Jackson. 8th guy, I would have to say, 8th, 9th guy, if we're going to do like is going to be more than likely, in my opinion, Brandon Clark and, I already said Brandon Clark and GG, but after those two, so 6-7, Brandon Clark, GG. 8-9 is Vince Williams and either Santi Alama or Zach Edey to start the season, or Luke Kennard, which is basically that's your 10-man rotation. They have Scottie Pippen and Cam Spencer on 2 ways. Mayuni's on a non-guaranteed. Also seeing John Conchard's still going to get some minutes, but he'll be competing with Jalen Wells for some of those minutes, as well as, and I know G.G. Jackson's going to miss some time, but just bear with me. Jay Huff is the other guy. So I know Cam Spencer's probably going to push for some minutes. Yuki Kawamura is going to try to get a 2-way, and I think he could, surprise people and push Scottie Pippen, or Scottie Pippen gets converted to a normal deal and they have Yuki. I don't think Mayuni's going to make the team, or if he does, I definitely think Pereira is not going to. Now, I think Armando Bacot's a G League guy. Wells is a guy who's a three-point shooter who will eventually replace Luke Kennard, so he's somebody. But I just think when you look at this team, as I've said, Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Santi Aldama, Jaren Jackson Jr., Gigi Jackson, Zach Edey, Luke Kennard, Vince Williams, and who else should I put in there? What was that, like the 10 guy? And then that's before you even get to Jake LaRavia, John Conchar, which right there, I think they 11 guys deep. I think they're going to just reclaim their spot. I would not be surprised if Ja Morant is a MVP candidate. That's what I'm going to call Ja Morant MVP candidate. Now, according to ESPN, the Grizzlies are supposed to be a 47.5 win team. And I'm clearing that they're going to be a 50-win team easily. And as I said, it's the Ja Morant avenge. Like he's going to avenge himself is truly what I believe. I think that's the biggest thing. I also think they're just going to get rid of all the young guys that don't matter anymore. Like, they're done. They're done. They found, as I said, Vince Williams. I know a lot of people really like Scottie Pippen, so we'll throw Scottie in there. But Vince Williams, Scottie, GG. I think they'll keep Santi if he's cheap. Zach Edey and Jalen Wells. I think those 6 guys, plus Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, they have 11 dudes, which leaves, like, obviously John Conchar and guys like John Conchar, probably expendable eventually. Same thing with Luke Kennard. 2 guys that I would not be surprised if at, like, deadline they were to be traded. And same thing with Jake LaRavia. Like, those are the 3 dudes that if I had to say that, like, that could be moved. If Jake doesn't show enough progress, and if Jalen Wells or is shooting better or performing better, or if Luke Kennard just can't hit the side of a barn, and John Conchar, if he's just, phased out, is a guy to realistically believe those 3 dudes. And plus, if you combine their salaries, John's making just under 7, and Luke's making, you basically almost get $20 million. And if you were looking at $20 million, there's a handful. You probably split that up into 2 players, and at that point, you maybe even throw a pick in there and just get yourself 2 impactful players. As I've said before, like, you call up a team like the Blazers where there's Matisse Thybulle, and you use a combination of Jake LaRavia and I guess in this case it would have to be Jake LaRavia and John Conchar, Jake LaRavia and Luke Kennard, just those 2 guys for Matisse. And then you turn around and you either keep John Conchar or you flip John Conchar for a guy on an expiring deal, or a young guy that you might have interest in bringing. I think looking at moves like that would be best. But as I've said, I think people are going to be surprised at how good this Grizzlies team is. And they're also just going to be surprised at, how things change. I also want to say Jake LaRavia post All-Star break averaged 14 points, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shot 36% from 3 at 6 attempts per game, and 11 field goals a game at just under, at 39%, just under 40%. So again, legit bona fide shooter, or show that you can be maybe a microwave. So Jake could be a guy you save, but if you were to trade Jake, as I've said before, about $20 million, if you wanted to do a big fish, if you're like, oh, let's go get ourselves somebody that people won't expect. Cool. I think the hardest thing will always be finding players' true value. To put a Cam Johnson, I think would interest them if they were packaging, as I said, Luke Kennard, John Conchar, and Jake LaRavia Cam Johnson could be someone that they could maybe squeeze into that thing, or a Malcolm Brogdon if they need a backup point guard. DeAndre Hunter if they feel like a wing. You see, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's some guys that they go out, like even Bojan Bogdanovic, if they just want to get an expiring, they don't have to give anything up, and we've seen what he's been able to do. Keldon Johnson, Kevin Huerter. I think there's really Karis LeVert. There's some people that they could get next to nothing. Denny Avdia, Dorian Finney-Smith. There's people that they should be interested in.